We should be live. Yep, we're live-ish now.
And we're live.
Oh.
Sorry, snuck that one in on you guys.
Yes, you did.
Anyway, I'll text you guys later. I
Okay.
think. Maybe not.
Fair enough.
Hopefully,
Maybe I won't.
Oh,
hope you do.
Had a good shoulder workout this morning.
Nice.
Yeah, got some. People don't get the rear delt in enough, I feel like.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
So we actually started with the rear delt just to make sure it was there. We did some overhead presses mixed with some pull-ups, and in between the pull-ups did some bent over like lateral raises, just to get those suckers firing. It's amazing how much a difference of just a couple lbs makes when you're doing pull-ups. Because I was rocking on some pull-ups maybe last week, and this week I'm up a little bit in poundage because I've been eating some food, and makes them more difficult, makes them harder. But got a good workout in, and I feel like shoulders. Let me see, shoulders. I think shoulders and like specifically like leg extension are like the two things that like burn the worst in the gym. You can get the pecs going pretty good. You can get them popping. You can get like a lat pump, a trap pump. Calves, you can get kind of pumped up. Hamstrings are hard to feel. It's hard to get, other things really like blown up. Your lower back, abs, I guess. Abs, you can burn your abs really good.
How about your arms? Like, I feel like I get the worst arm pumps, as in they're the best, but they just burn.
Yeah, you can get your arms burning, but I feel like the shoulder and the quad pump that you get from like a leg extension is like painful. And like you like wish that you weren't you for a few minutes.
I agree.
And the shoulders, for me, maybe it's just because my shoulders like maybe a little messed up or something, but like it makes me like cringe and like want to like hug myself. Like my arms like fucking hurt so bad. I'm just like, It just feels excruciating. And then you're just using like the lightest fucking weights too, especially for like, a lateral raise or something like that. You're just like, man, this is starting to get embarrassing.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I still think the arms above, like for me, it's the biceps are like, I can get a pump there like nothing. And then that pump will just be like when we did the Chef Rush thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
God.
was great.
For a week, I felt the same thing in my arms. Like for a week, they were stimulated.
Just a lot of tension in the arms.
Just a lot of tension in the arms and the chest. God, Chef Rush.
Yeah, he killed us.
He did.
How about the leg extension though? Like why the leg extension feels like somebody's ripping your quads apart.
Yeah, those are good. I don't do leg extensions anymore.
Oh yeah, your knee. Yeah, your knee.
My knee is not allowing me to extend that.
Yeah.
But when I did do leg extensions, they were quite a burner. I think for me, lunges are the equivalent.
Ooh, yeah.
Like dumbbell
Those
walking
hurt,
lunges or barbell lunges. Like those. I honestly think they were even above leg extensions when I was doing a lot of leg extensions.
You could. It's kind of hard from a squat. Like unless you just know how to squat really well. Kind of hard just to get your legs blown out just from squats. Although the next day your legs are sore no matter what from squats. So I don't know how that works.
The leg extension for me it's the most I'm gonna feel that later. Like if I'm not, I don't know what it is when I do any kind of leg extension or if it's incorporated in the workout, my legs cramp up really bad. I know that there's more involved than just the workout, like obviously hydration and stuff, but it just seems like no matter what I do, we'll podcast and I'll stand up and it's like my quad will just start going crazy, and it's like that only happens with the leg extension.
Yeah.
Other than that, like it's been a long time since I had a calf workout, but calves for me remain the most sorest.
Oh, they can. Yeah, if your calves get sore,
and then you can't even you can't stand up straight.
Can't do shit with sore calves.
You literally will just fall forward or backwards because you can't balance yourself.
For me, that's a very satisfying feeling for the calves. Like I like that when it comes to the calves.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I think we all kind of we appreciate the soreness, but man, a calf, fuck, dude, that shit hurts.
The calves too. I forgot about how bad you can get a crazy pump in your calf. Especially the seated calf. Woo!
Yeah, and
That's
like,
a smoker right there. That
Uh-huh.
thing's just like, it feel like they're on fire.
what about when you're working your abs and you get like that spasm?
Oh yeah, and you think you're just done. You think,
Yeah,
Spasm?
yeah, like you get
you
like
think you need to get in that yoga stretch, flip
Mhm.
over, and
it's almost like you're cramping. Like, I guess does feel like a cramp because
Mhm.
it's a spasm, but it's like you feel like I just pulled something, or this one's permanent. Like
Yeah.
I fucked it. Like I messed it up for reals. But then you like breathe a little bit and you're good to go.
You guys ever play a sport where they just take you through ab stuff? Like I used to do that with boxing and then also with football.
Oh, the only thing was Muay Thai. At the
And
end
this-
of every session, we would just
So
just
why is it you never get any better? You never make any progress with your stomach.
never.
You do like those bicycle things, like where you go one side, back and forth with the elbow deal,
Mhm.
and instantly, like 8 seconds goes by and your stomach's on fire.
Yep. That reminds me of 8-minute abs.
Yeah.
I did that as a teenager, like
Yeah.
every single day. Did you guys ever do
I
that?
did
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I used to do crunches all the time and stuff. I used to do like 1,000 crunches. Like I would
Yeah.
just sit there and count like hundreds of them at a time.
I did 8-minute abs and ab ripper X P90X.
Yes, I did that too.
Dude,
I
it
had the
was so
P90X
good.
videos and the ones from Sean T. Insanity. I used to do Insanity
You guys
in my
used to
garage.
hit push-ups during commercials and stuff when you were a kid. I used to do that a lot.
No, I was lazy.
A little bit, not
Yeah.
not nearly as much as you
That's
did.
good.
Probably.
Yeah.
A little
In the
bit.
previous podcast, we were just talking about LimeWire. I downloaded Ab Ripper X from probably LimeWire.
Actually, I think I did the same.
That's where that's where I got it. Yeah.
yeah, I
Ab
tore into
Ripper
that.
X.
Yep.
Yeah, you know that guy from P90X. I wonder if he still makes those videos. Same thing
He's
with
still
Sean
alive?
T.
Sean T. Yeah, no, Sean T's definitely around.
Okay.
My fiance, she does all the beach body stuff. She's like a
Uh-huh.
beach body coach, and he's around.
Sean T's.
Yep. Yeah, he's still killing it.
Hey man, I think he doing his videos when I was younger. I got really lean. I
Mhm.
gotta say, Sean T taught me a lot about, I guess, just movement cardio you can
Mhm.
do in your garage.
Mm.
They were really like that. That's really valuable stuff for some people.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, my fiance, like I said, she does it every morning.
Yeah.
Like she just completed 100 days in a row. Like it was part of one of the programs.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it's called B100 or something like that,
Yeah.
where like she had like a whole calendar, and like every day she would go check it off,
Mhm.
and she did 100 of them in a row.
Yeah.
You realize like you're almost 1/3 through the year and you did not miss one day. Like I understand their home workouts so people can say what they want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I'm like, I wouldn't do that shit. That looks hard.
Mm.
Insanity was hard. Have you ever done anything like that, or just you've just been in the gym?
No.
I feel it, man. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
it. I was mostly in the gym too, but I will say when I did those like Insanity workouts, and I think he had Insanity 2.0 at a certain point. I think I was like 18, 19 or something like that.
Man.
That shit was tough. Like
It was
you'd be in a
hard, man.
puddle of sweat afterwards. It's not a
It's
joke.
brutal, huh?
They really were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you feel like you need to be sore to make progress? Like my legs, by the way, are like sore to the touch, and they're sore like
To the touch.
ooh.
Like, are they re-
Yeah, like if you just went like that, like they hurt.
Oh wow.
I want
Yeah.
to touch.
But also like my legs are just like giving out because we did like yesterday we did leg extensions and then we went right into leg press and we used kind of short rest intervals. Like a surefire way to make sure that you're really fucking sore is just to not rest. If you just have a really low rest period and you just keep going at it, you're gonna get really sore. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I think that okay, so there maybe I should break this into two things. I think number one, it depends on your goal. So if lifting is the main thing that you do in terms of fitness, right? You're not doing anything on the outside or anything else that you need to be prepared for. I think you can be sore after your workout, but you can't be so sore that you can't hit the gym the next day or even the day after that and potentially do the same body part.
Right.
So like maybe 2 days later.
You shouldn't be dysfunctional.
You shouldn't be dysfunctional. Like you should be able to hit your arms 2 days after doing an arm workout and still be able to do something with it. Or it shouldn't be something where you can only do a few reps. You're like, fuck, my arms are like hurting.
Right.
That means you've overdone it if you can't hit it until 6 or 7 days later.
Right.
But I feel like a level of soreness is good and is necessary. But then there's also like if you're doing lifting and then you're doing another sport along with lifting, like maybe you're doing a martial art or you're doing something else, you need to make sure that whatever you're doing in the gym doesn't wreck you so much that you can't perform in your other sport, whether you're a football player, a basketball player, or a martial artist. Like your lifting shouldn't be so rough that you can't go perform in your sport. So that's but you can still feel kind of sore.
Yeah, how do you
know?
how do you find that level though? Like somebody who's not as experienced like myself, I'm just like, oh, okay, I want my abs, so I'm gonna crush this workout. And it's like I'm tired right now. Like, no, I'm gonna push even further. Like, and I've been told by Mark many times, he's like, hey, you go so much today, you're pulling from tomorrow's workout. So, but like, how do we know? Like,
well, you first of all, you need rest intervals. So like if you're going to use a low amount of rest intervals, then you need to do a low amount of sets probably, and you need to be cautious with what the intensity looks like. Like if you're going to go to failure and have let's say 30 seconds rest or even like a minute rest, and you're going to go to failure, then like 2 sets. That third set, that's going to be the one that gets you really sore. And if you do 3 sets like that on 3 different things, now you're going to be really sore. So that's where you have to just pay attention to the overall amount of work that you're doing. And then also you could just simply make things a little easier on yourself and have a little bit more rest. If you're trying to get real lean, it might be advantageous to have a short rest period. And then from there, you'll have to just be like, hey, I don't really need to achieve failure on these sets, but I do need to work hard. And so maybe you use a kind of old school training method, which is light, medium, heavy. Let's say you're doing some dumbbell presses, some like seated dumbbell presses. I'll maybe go with the 40s on set number 1, maybe go to 55 on set number 2, and maybe go to 65, 70 on set number 3. But set number 3 is the set. Then move on to something else. And you did 3 sets, but you only did 1 set that was really hard. You're not going to get sore from that, even if you did a few extra exercises, or even if you decided you wanted to superset that first set. You should feel some level of soreness, but not debilitated.
Yeah, and as far as failure is concerned, I think that a good concept for people to think about is putting that more towards the end of a workout. And the reason why I say that is because if you're doing, let's say you're doing an arm day, right? And you maybe do some bicep curls first, and your next set is like a cable bicep curl, but you do a set to failure. What failure does is it activates so much of that muscle that it's just so fatiguing that your next set you will automatically do less amount of reps because you fatigue that muscle so much during this specific set. And then your volume will just continue to trail down during your workout. But if instead you didn't go to failure and you still did a good amount of reps, where maybe you're 1 or 2 reps shy, and you save that failure for the end of your workout, overall, in terms of the whole workout, you'll have more training volume that you've been able to accumulate while still being able to use the benefits of failure towards the end. I think that's one good thing to think about. And then the second thing that I think a lot of people can do that will allow them to find their volume, I guess, that you were talking about, Andrew, is to write down your workout and write down maybe the loads that you were using. Because I think one reason why a lot of people don't make progress and then they start making progress when they work with somebody is because when they work with somebody, everything's now written down and there's a plan. That's the only thing. Like that's legit it. You're now writing things down, you're writing down your weights, and you have a plan of progression. But the only reason it doesn't work for you right now is because you're not writing it down. You're going with the flow. You're not writing down what weights you're using, and you're just going by how you're feeling every day, not by how you did last week or a few days ago on the same workout. But if you now wrote everything down, you know where you can progress. You know that, oh God, I did this day, and today I'm feeling like crap. Maybe I need to reduce my sets a little bit so that I can do this workout and still progress in my next few days. Simply writing things down will probably help you to get to that next level. Seriously.
Can you break down, because like the workout I showed you I did on Monday, you were explaining about like progressive overload, like because like over time.
Yeah.
Can you break that one down for me one more time?
Okay, progressive overload it's a really, really simple concept. Think about just all you're trying to do is, let's say you're working with some amount of training volume, and training volume is, let's use a squat. Sets times reps times sets. Let's say you did 5 by 5 at 135. Let's say that the next week you want to do 5 by 5 at 145. That's progressive overload. You have now increased the amount of overall training volume you're working with next week. Okay. It can get more complex than that, but that's the gist. Over time of your training life or whatever, You want to be able to work with more training volume than you were last year, last month, last week. Now, if you're not writing those things down, or if you're not tracking that, most people will go by how they feel on that day. So you'll see a lot in powerlifting. I feel strong today. I'm going to go for a 2-rep max. The next 2 days later, I'm feeling kind of weak today. I'm going to do this. I'm feeling kind of weak today. I'm going to do this. I feel strong today. I'm going to do this. But there's no like actual progression they're aiming for. And they beat themselves so much one day that they can't progress the next day. So it gets tough. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. What I was talking about with you is you told me about your workout, and I was like, just make sure that like you write the amount of weight you did on these movements down, the amount of sets you did, so that if you want to come back to this workout, you can try to improve on what you did on the workout before, and you're not potentially doing less than what you did in that workout.
Got it.
You know,
Okay.
that's all.
Yeah, because the workout that I did was like they call it like pyramid sets or whatever. So like high reps at lightweight, and then I ended up doing less reps at, I just progressed a little bit heavier each time. And it was fun because like, yeah, that was a good shoulder workout. And now that you mentioned it, Mark, yeah, there was nowhere to hide after a little bit. The burn just wouldn't go away. And then I was showing Nsima what I was doing, and then he explained the progressive overload, and I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
It's not complex. Just make sure that, again, just write things down a bit. Just make sure that you can progress off of that later on, so that you're just trying to get better.
Right.
Yeah, and then like things like a pyramid or any of those things, they're really hard to make any sense of. They are the opposite of what he just described. They are using higher reps earlier in the workout, and it's like if we wanted just to kill Nsima, we'd say, let's have you squat, and we'd start with 405 and just say as many reps as you can, and then we're going to 315, as many reps as you can, then we're going to 225, as many reps as you can, and then 135, and then it's like from there, it's like, could you even have a workout? It's like, no, there's definitely no reason to progress to any other exercise. It's like you're done. So if you're going to do something really awful and you're going to have it in the beginning, then you might need to kind of rethink, like, what's the point of your workout? If the point of your workout is to kind of improve some mental toughness, then that's okay. Maybe you do some really harsh sprints that just crush your lungs, and then now you're trying to do walking lunges and squats and these kinds of things. And if you're trying just to see how like tough you are for, how you're going to feel the next couple of days, and you want just to, level the shit out of yourself, then that's kind of different. But if you have a goal to be like bigger or stronger, then you might want to lift in a more systematic way. And usually, from what I've seen, the answer is, as Nsima was saying, you're going to lift heavier earlier in your workout. Obviously, you're going to warm up. Do whatever you need to do to warm up. Get yourself warmed up. Get yourself ready for the weight. You're probably going to be doing 1 to 5 reps on exercise number 1 if you're training for strength. If you are more into bodybuilding, you might be more in like a 6 to 10 range. But after you get done with the first, you should always have an intent of every workout that you ever do. The intent could be that you're trying to be in better shape, trying to move faster, trying to move better. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do. Trying just to get hypertrophy, whatever the goal is, you should have an intent and a goal in mind. And then from there, you can kind of break down how many reps, how many sets of different things you're going to do. But as the workout progresses, you're going to do higher and higher reps, because the amount of fatigue and the amount of central nervous system stimulation is now kind of running its course. You're sort of at the end, and really all you have to rely on is your muscular strength. Your nervous system is getting demolished at that point, and you probably already did a few sets of 5, a few sets of 6 to 8, and now would be a great time to throw in a set of lat pull downs for 12 to 15 reps, supersetted with a seated row. That's a great way to leave the gym. Great way to get a good pump going, and a great way to get in some more time under tension. But to start a workout that way, you can start workouts that way. But just understand it's going to make you weaker for the stuff that you're about to do. And our intention isn't always to lift the most amount of weight, not all the time, but most of the time that is the intention, because that's going to give us a great stimulus.
Yeah. And I think there's some merit to just destroying yourself. I really do actually like that sometimes. Like when I've
And that's what we did with legs the other day. We're just like, hey, let's just fuck ourselves up.
let's let's fuck ourselves up. Yeah, I like in those workouts that I've done with you guys, just like the cardio ones and the like. After that, I'm just like, I'm kind of fucked for a day or two, but this was awesome. Like sometimes you want to do that, you know? You can't have everything be boring all the time.
Yeah, and sometimes the progressive overload stuff can be kind of boring.
It can get monotonous. It really can. But like to make progress over a long period of time, you want to plan things out. You want to write it down. You want to have an idea of where you can progress next week based off where you were the week before. And I think one thing that I found of a trend that a lot of people still don't do is they still don't have like deload weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really don't. Like
Right.
I've asked lifters like, how long has it been how long ago did you take a deload? Oh, what's a deload? Just a week where you go a little bit lighter than you usually do. I've never done that. And then they're like, but the premise is that they say that they've plateaued, right?
Right.
You haven't plateaued. You just never had a break.
Yeah, you never rested. And again, it depends on what style of training you're doing. Like if you have been doing bodybuilding for a long time, maybe it's just time for a switch. Maybe you train 4 days a week, and maybe it would be good for you to take a couple days off. You know, maybe it'd be good for you to switch to 3 days a week, just for like 2 weeks. You can go right back to it. You know, you don't need to get too worried or concerned that you're gonna like deflate. You'll actually probably get bigger. You take that little bit of time off. It'll probably, spend some time doing something else. You know, walk more, ride your bike more, find some other activity. We just saw a picture of Mark Sisson, and he looks jacked as fuck. And I was thinking, like, what has he been doing? And actually, he said that he's been lifting a lot less and has a lot less time for regular exercise. And he said that he was playing ultimate frisbee a little bit more. He's been fat biking, which is just a big fat bike on the beach, the fat bike tires. I think that's what he wrote something about that. You ever see the bikes with the big wide tires that you ride on the beach? They're impossible. They're just like so hard to ride. It's like kills you.
Really?
Yeah, they're tough.
Damn. It looks a lot of fun. Like it looks like it would be a lot of fun.
Can we just acknowledge that this man's body looks like he's 25?
Yeah, 66 years old, and he's fucking
Damn.
jacked.
Like, this is possible, people. You can do it.
Primal Kitchen. He sold Primal Kitchen for big time dough. He wrote the Primal Blueprint, big part of the paleo movement as well, along with Rob Wolf, and just a brilliant guy.
Just the sheer definition of jacked and tan, right?
Jacked and tan meathead millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, because jacked and tan means like everything. This guy has it all. Fuck. And he rides paddleboards just like me, so I'm on my way.
There we go.
Yeah, he's in great shape. He's a good example, but like we're saying is like you know, just fucking take a break, you know, get some time away. And I think sometimes people see someone like myself training like a madman, but my training is so different all the time. Like I don't necessarily need like a deload because there may be a week where I'm traveling and doing something, and maybe all I'll do during that week is pretty much walk, you know. Or do some sort of cardiovascular training or just some push-ups or something. So I end up having some like automatic deloads in there. But, you know, anybody's trying to figure some of this out, there's a lot of great places to go. But I think a great book for everyone to check out is 531 from Jim Wendler, which is not traditional. It might confuse matters even more because it's not what we're talking about here. It's not periodization. But what Jim Wendler really does a good job is he sets you up for success, and he tells you like, you know, you're going to do these reps of 5, but they're not at 108%. You know, they're going to be at like 85%. Like make them a technical limit is a good rule for people to understand and to learn. And so, you know, should you take your reps to failure? You should probably take most of your reps in the gym to like about a technical limit. Meaning like you start to sway, now if you're going to do that on your way out of the gym, the last couple reps and you're curling, who really cares? But if the majority of your workout is made up of poor technique, maybe that's not in your best interest to lift that way. So think about technical limit. Allow your muscles to do the lift correctly the right way.
Yeah. I think that's a big strength of conjugate too, though. because you're not always increasing. Like from what I've heard from like Jesse, it's not always a constant high, intensity being like you're not always working with heavy loads. It's not always high volume. There's quite a bit of variability. And that idea of variability is something that I think is really cool about it, because I mean, what I've found is that when a lifter has been doing a squat, bench, and deadlift for multiple months on end, even if, you've been structuring it and you've been taking deload weeks, etc., there's just a point where things just really start to stall. And that's a really good place to switch things up. Maybe do some front squats or do an opposite deadlift, conventional, or do something. And when you take time off of those movements, when the lifter comes back to it, boom, it's like it's revitalizing. There's new like levels of strength that are reached because they took time off of it. But the cool thing about conjugate is that you guys are there, or conjugate people that follow that are always doing different things on a week-to-week basis. They're always like, what's his name? Jeremy Avila isn't always sumo deadlifting. He does a lot of conventional. He does a lot of banded conventional. He does deficit pulls. He's always doing that. And some people would be like, oh, it's not specific enough. But when he comes back to his sumo deadlift, he's now filled in all these little holes that the deficit, the banded, all these things have filled now that he has a stronger sumo deadlift. So there's strength to that too. It makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people shit on conjugate because of that for some reason, but it's just it works.
You're also not always going to be like, you don't just automatically get better at stuff. Like if you want to be better at something, then you're going to have to be more meticulous about it. You have to pay more attention to it. And also, I really think it just depends on some goals. Like, you don't have to really lift better or you certainly don't have to lift more just to be better. You can still be better off by, like, let's say you said, you should be able to handle more work over a period of time. So let's say that you, squat 500 pounds and you squat 500, you do some assistance work, yada, yada. And then you move on and then you want to do some other type of training. Well, now maybe you do 3 sets of 5 with 405. That's what you did for the day. Then you did some leg presses. Then you did some leg curls. And then maybe you walked with the sled. And in between walking with the sled, you did some like lunges. Those are just two very different workouts. And you could still be making a lot of progress. And maybe your top set squat isn't as high as it was, but now you have a different work capacity because you're trying something new. And if we're talking about your aesthetics and the way that you look, it really, and I hate to say it too, but I believe this for sport. I believe the only place where this is not relevant is to an in-season powerlifter who's like ready to compete. Otherwise, I don't think you need to have your brain wrapped around lifting more all the time. You're going to want to work on that for periods of time for specific reasons. And I just had a great conversation with Josh Setlich about this. He was, he built up his strength for a little while. Now he's doing some more conjugate type stuff. He's doing some speed squats. He's doing some max effort work. But is it really going to matter that much when he goes for a double leg takedown on someone, or when he tries something specific in jiu-jitsu, whether he did a safety squat bar, box squat, or if he did a regular squat with his feet in close together in Olympic lifting shoes? It's not really going to matter. What matters is that he's working from different angles. He's working on stuff in different ways. So one week he works with a wide stance. Next week he works with a closed stance. I'm not going to say that. My point is that neither way is going to really matter that much when it comes to the transfer over into his sport. What's going to matter is that he's trying to work on making himself a better athlete. He's working on his conditioning. He's working on his strength, but he's not specifically sitting there, super concerned about, like, if I squat 538 pounds, that's going to allow me to tap out Nsima, because that doesn't work that way, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. And like I feel like when it comes to, I guess, that and sport, the possibilities are like honestly limitless. They really are. Like, there are, I guess, big concepts that you want to have in line. One big concept is that, like, maybe you just want to get strong with each body part. You want to maybe move through larger ranges of motion, so you don't really have an area where you're weak in terms of pushing or pulling or whatever. But outside of that, like, the gym is the playground. Like, and also maybe you just want to get stronger with these movements over time. Okay, big concept. But yeah, again, other than that, it's not going to make a difference you doing a lot of maybe back squats versus doing some front squats. Like, you're still going to be squatting, you're still going to build a glute, quadricep, hamstring strength. Maybe the only difference is you're stronger with one than the other, but then you can build the weaker one.
And we're also referring to people that are already trained. So just so people don't get it twisted up, like, we're not talking about you shaking and looking like you're going to crumble and fall through the ground with 135 pounds. Because if that's the case, then you better, work on getting fucking stronger. You're going to get crushed in whatever sport you're in.
Yeah.
And if you simply just work on your squats, and again, I don't know how much it would matter what style you chose. You just need to spend a lot more time in the gym so you can get used to some of these weights. So hopefully you can start to progress to 185 and 225 and at least be like, another point here is that where Josh Settlidge's strength is compared to other people at jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter when you're talking about Nsima's strength versus the weakest guy there. What matters is that the people that are like in between, that they try to somehow close the gap a little bit. They don't have to pull 755. They don't have to, squat 600 pounds, but if they only squat 135, they're going to get killed. Hopefully everyone's understanding what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just like you need some substance of strength. And with your instructor, I'm sure he's not, he's more advanced than you in jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't have your strength background. And so now if he gets stronger, your eyes just lit up. If he gets stronger, right? Like now shit, man, like what, let's just say he started training really hard. Let's say he walked out of jiu-jitsu and he's like, I'm going to go train. And he trained for a while, kept his mobility and gained like 6 or 8 pounds. Well, now you really got a lot of problems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're really going to get jacked up because he knows the game so well. And so, you don't want to have this huge gap between you and everybody else that you're trying to, the sport that you're trying to play. You don't want to be, only lifting like, 135 pounds. You're going to have to work on your strength. But what I'm saying is like what you do isn't going to matter as much as you finding something and being consistent with it, sticking to it and just working on getting stronger. Whether you do a box squat or a safety squat, bar squat, or a regular squat, or good mornings or front squats, it's not really going to make that big a difference, at least from things I've seen over the years.
You guys keep going down the strength road if you guys want, but does all of this change if you're going specifically for aesthetics?
Well, so like aesthetics, I think aesthetics, the main thing is food.
Yeah, that.
I mean, there's some stuff to your training, but so like what we did with you, for example, like a long time ago, you're like, I should get some abs, and I was like, you should actually work on being more jacked. Like you should be bigger, like because there's nothing to really cut from yet. I wish you weighed more. Like let's get you to weigh more, because if you don't start with about a 200-pound frame, you're gonna look like a wet noodle at the end of this whole thing, right? So it's like, let's start with a little bit of a base, and Andrew is around 6 foot or so, right? So it would depend on your height and stuff, but like when you're talking about aesthetics, your training could be, if you wanted to have like a more powerful look, you would want to do some powerlifting. If you wanted to, there's actually like, it's kind of like a meme, I guess. There's like, it shows like a power lifter, trains squat, bench, and deadlift, right? And then it shows a bodybuilder does like specific movements. They have like a bro split
for every single muscle group.
Yeah, for every single muscle group. And then there's one for like physique athletes, and that one's that they train full body every day, or full body 3 times a week or something like that, right? Something like that.
It's a meme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like there's one for CrossFitters or something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And it shows the different body types, but it's actually very accurate. It's like kind of supposed to be fun and funny, but it's actually also very accurate. It shows you, the bro split, where you spend a lot of time on the aesthetics and trying to bring out the lats and the biceps and shoulders. It's probably going to be your best bet when you're trying to have an aesthetic look. However, if you don't really have much muscle mass on you, and you don't really have any strength, you may want to start. Most of these bodybuilders too, a lot of times are like, oh yeah, I used to powerlift.
Yeah, that does happen. But the thing is that you also see is a lot of powerlifters started as bodybuilders. A lot of really good powerlifters started as bodybuilders. Bryce Lewis, Russell Orhe. I could probably go on Instagram and find a bunch that started off with bodybuilding. I mean, they had that base of muscle to get stronger with. I think that, yes, it does matter for aesthetics, everything we've talked about, because if you want to look good aesthetically, yeah, you want to be lean, but you don't want to be a lean noodle. I think, like you just mentioned, you don't want to be lean and small. So if you want to build muscle, you gotta, the concept of progressive overload still reigns true. You got to get stronger with the loads you're working with. You got to work with those over time, and actually having structure makes that happen even faster. But I mean, you've seen this before, the guys that look the same in the gym every single year, and they're just kind of doing the same things all the time. You don't see them getting any stronger. And because you don't see them getting any stronger, they're not really getting any bigger. So a lot of like really good bodybuilders, a lot of really good powerlifters that look really good have structure. Like that's honestly one of the big things, just having structure to what you do, and you'll get bigger and stronger. One weird thing I think that happened, I'll make this short, but when I was focusing on bodybuilding for a long time, I got pretty big. But when I added a lot of strength training into the mix, like really doing big compound movements and focusing on progressing those two along with progressing my smaller movements, for me, it's like I saw a spike in my weight gain, and it's like I saw a spike in everything. It's like I just got so much bigger, and it was really different. And I think that can make a big difference in your training.
No, I think it's huge because that set you up for everything. Like the fact that you have more weight. Andrew and I were talking about this the other day. We were talking about you behind your back.
Oh,
but like just the fact that just your body weight alone, you know, is what makes people tease you about being natty. You're like 250 pounds. It's rare to see someone single digit body fat that's like 250 pounds.
Yeah.
But had you not explored powerlifting, you know, maybe I know you've been bigger for a long time, but for some of these other people that are listening, you know, maybe they're not going to really ever get their true potential for growth unless they find what exercises and what stimulus is going to get them there. What stimulus is going to help, you know, take them from 160 to 180 to 190. Maybe they're not going to ever find it if they only bodybuild. Maybe they're not going to find it if they only do like CrossFit. Maybe they need, you know, powerlifting. An interesting thing that if you get around, like bodybuilding is a weird thing because everyone is just like not in a category. They're like, I bodybuild. And that's actually not true. Like you're not bodybuilding, you know? I don't even really think that I've experienced that much of bodybuilding. Like I've only experienced what I know of bodybuilding, but to have like a coach or have someone who is really into bodybuilding to do bodybuilding with, like the few times I worked out with Hani, or the times I've worked out with like Mike O'Hearn, that is, like you're saying, like write stuff down and really pay attention to it. That is like getting coached on every rep of every set. That's kind of the way that was the way I used to power lift. Everything mattered. Every set mattered. All the weights mattered. The warm up mattered. Like everything was important. And that's the reason why I don't train that way anymore, because it's like maddening, you know, it makes you crazy. But rather than you just doing an exercise, now I'm like poking you on the chest. Like, no, squeeze here, squeeze here. No, dude, stop. Like, what are you doing? Hold on. Let's lower the weight. Okay, contract here. No. All right, you know what, dude? Flex in the mirror. We're going to, like that. Okay, hold that for a minute. Okay, now we're going back to this cable crossover. All right, right there. Yep, okay. It's that specific, and it drives you fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, a lot of these people that are kind of like in between, they haven't really experienced bodybuilding that much, because real bodybuilding's hard.
It is.
It's like you got to really go in deep upstairs to be able to make it happen.
I guess this would go back to the diet thing, but is there a deload week for bodybuilders? Or
yes.
So what does that look like?
It's just literally, if you think about the way that I program it for people, it's literally, if there was every exercise that you're doing, you do one less set. And then you take a look at the weights that you did the week before, and you do lower load. So that means pretty much if you're doing, let's say you're doing 3 sets usually, you now do 2. Now, if you did 50 pounds last week, you'll do like 40 or 35 pounds. 2 sets of 40 pounds with that. Whatever you're doing is super easy. That's what it looks like. The whole week looks like that. And there are deload weeks for powerlifters too. Like the weeks where you go easier on everything. A deload week is just going a little bit easier for the week so that you feel refreshed for multiple more weeks of progress.
And then
yeah.
I remember Mark hearing about like how he would hear somebody else say that like, oh, it's like I need a refeed day, and he would get so frustrated because he actually experienced a true refeed day when Hani was coaching him, right?
Yeah, like really truly getting like depleted to where you're like, I can't really like concentrate or see so good, or like I can't sleep well. I can't, you can't do anything well. You get to like these weird, you get to these really weird things in bodybuilding.
Then you had a refeed and felt like $1 million.
Yeah. Well, not only did you feel like $1 million, but your dick works the next day. Like you wake up fucking hard as a rock. You're like, holy shit. All right. Hey, Andy, where are you at? Because, I mean, your shit gets so suppressed. I mean, like, but that's how hard you're training. You're training to the point, like, dudes that are listening to this right now, you're training so hard that that's the last thing on your mind.
That's the last thing on your body's mind.
Yeah.
Your body just, your dick doesn't matter
Yeah,
anymore.
your girl's like, hey, and you're like, nah, not into it. No, I need to go to sleep because I got to train in the morning. Like, you turn into such a pussy.
Hey, man, it's real. It's real. That's why, like,
my wife was like, okay, all right, we're done with this fucking bodybuilding thing, right? I was like, yeah.
Man.
She's like, you're not going to do another show, right?
Are you
said,
gonna
well,
do that?
I'm like, are you?
well.
You're pretty lean right now. You're 227. When you said 227, I was like, what?
Yeah, huh?
Damn.
No,
Yeah.
no plans on doing another.
But how much did you weigh on stage?
235. But I'm on more shit then, and it's a little bit more calculated, and Nsima knows how it is. As you're going into a show, it's very like we're talking about. It's very specific. So it's like you're gonna always look your best on stage. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot of times in your life where you're gonna be able to really compare. As good a shape as you're in, you still looked more amazing when you were competing.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, I think either one of us can, flip around and go and compete now, and in a couple of weeks, and look better than we have previously.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that, and I definitely think like also, I mean, in my case, when I was on stage, I was like 228.
You look a lot leaner now than you do right there, and that's like what, a year? I mean, that's.
How long ago was that?
Well,
I am leaner than that.
It's about a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago. Yeah, I'm definitely leaner.
But you're
than
fucking jacked there. You know what I mean? Like we're looking at it and being like, oh yeah. he's thicker there, but like you were lean then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, look at your back though.
Damn.
That's why I paused it.
That's damn.
Yeah.
He must work.
Do you miss that?
He must work out.
Do you miss that look?
Nah, I mean, I know the amount of time it took, you know.
Yeah.
So, nah.
What if you could detach?
Right now I'm like, I don't know, 238 or 240 because I chubbed back up after I was down really low.
Yeah.
And so I have a little bit of fluff back on me, just water weight probably pretty much. I think I can get that lean pretty quickly.
Yeah.
4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that.
Yeah. I think it's nice knowing like where we are now. Like it wouldn't take long to get that lean. You probably could get that lean in 6 weeks or shorter. Like seriously, if you took it seriously, you could get that lean in 6 weeks. Right. I could probably get back to my stage weight. It'd probably take me like 10 or 12 weeks, right? But
and I would also use some different strategy too. Like I really liked what Hani set me up with and everything, but I would definitely use some intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to do it that way. And I think maybe if I was to try it again, maybe it would just be less intrusive because I wouldn't eat 6 or 7 times a day. Like that was the hard part. My wife not helped, but she cooked a lot of those meals. And so that was a pain in the ass. And like I don't know, it was just I could do it in a way where it wouldn't impact as negatively, because I certainly wouldn't bother with trying to do 90 minutes of cardio. But that's just what we were up against.
Yeah.
At that time.
It would be interesting.
You did some cardio for your shows, right?
I did. I think that if I prepped again, I probably would be able to maintain doing jujitsu for quite some time. And yeah, I was on the elliptical almost every single day. I chose the elliptical because it wasn't like taxing on my joints or whatever. And I have the sheets still. I think I was doing like 600 or 700 calories a day cardio, which would take me like maybe an hour, a little bit less. And that was along with lifting too.
Have you ever messed around with intra-workout carbs or anything like that?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
I used to have yeah, I've had like either a shake or something with me that I have in the middle of my workout. And I mean, nowadays I really don't think it was that beneficial.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, it's an extra thing.
it's an extra thing. Like,
It's an extra thing, and if it rewarded you that much, you would still continue to do it, regardless of whether you're bodybuilding or not. But
Yeah.
the payoff isn't strong enough. But when you're bodybuilding, you're like, I need everything.
You're right.
You know, you're like, I need every advantage and everything possible. And it's
Mhm.
like, I always felt with those like intra-workout shakes, I didn't know if it was the carbs, the aminos, I didn't know what it was. It definitely felt like just the fact that I was drinking something that had salt and potassium, sodium and potassium in it. I think that was hugely beneficial. Whether it was a certain mixture of other things, the carbs or the protein or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have an idea. I mean, I know that there's some science that shows that these things are supposed to be effective, but who studies it?
Yeah.
People that sell supplements.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that again in the situation of prep, anything that just touched my lips was amazing. Keep your minds clean, people. All right, food. Any type of food that just like gave me something it was a godsend because I was so damn depleted and I
You're
was
like,
so
those
hungry.
BCAAs taste so good, and other people are like, what?
Right? I'd make these nasty ass homemade pizzas on tortillas and be like, "This is a treat, a gift from the gods."
Yeah. Like it's fucking cheese and you microwaved it.
Low fat cheese.
Oh god.
Low fat cheese and like just like these lame ass pepperonis.
I'm not allowed.
3 pepperonis because I couldn't have more than that. Like,
That's funny. I'm not even allowed to have that kind of cheese.
You made a choice.
And yeah, I'm living with that choice, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, but
for now.
Yeah, I think I could have. I think I could have done it in a more sustainable manner. Honestly, if I did pick up fasting while doing that, I think my cravings would have been in line. I would have been able to handle that much better than I did because I had a lot of binge sessions because I was craving all these foods. Nowadays, if I did a prep, I feel like I could handle it without binging once because I have better food habits.
Back to the kind of aesthetics deal, like when you're doing, there might be certain movements in the gym, like if you've been training for a little while that you may not really need to worry about too much, like, a preacher curl on a machine or a shoulder press. But if these are exercises or if there's a body part that you want to try to bring up, then that's where you're going to want to pay more attention. So let's say you want to bring up your back. Well, then it would be good to write down the weights that you're using for your bent over rows. Start out week 1, maybe doing, 4 or 5 sets of 10 reps just to kind of get some work in. Maybe you use a plate, and then maybe the next week, maybe you drop the reps down just a little bit, and maybe you add whatever appropriate amount of weight for you would be. You go to 155 or 145, add a little bit of weight each week, bring the reps down a little bit. And the idea behind it is that because you're going to be handling more weight, you're going to be challenging yourself a little bit more each and every week. Because you're challenging yourself, you're recruiting more muscle fibers over time that will help make you bigger, and over time that will help make you stronger. So that's kind of the idea behind it. It's pretty simple. You just try to do a little bit more weight. A lot of times with the more weight that you do, a lot of times we're dropping the reps down, but that doesn't always have to be the case. You can even do like a 5x5, and you can try to keep that amount of reps with a given weight. I've done that before where you do, it's called a flat wave. You just keep the wave the same. It's just that it starts light enough so you have room to move. Hopefully it's making sense. So let's say you used 135 in week 1 and did 5 sets of 5. You just bump the weight up to 140 the next week, do another 5 sets of 5. Like these small incremental jumps in weight, trying to leave the sets and reps the same. You can even just go up a rep. So you can even say, I'm going to do 300 pounds on squats, and week 1 I'm going to do I'm going to do a hard set of 5. The next week you can say, I'm going to see if I can do 6. You can do it that way, or you can go in the other direction and go heavier and go with a slightly lower amount of reps. All depends on where the goals are at.
Honestly, if everybody just did like that, just structured it a little bit, everybody who's listening would get bigger. That's just a fact, because I know a majority of people don't write down their workouts. So you'll just grow there. But I think another thing that everyone who's listening to this podcast, that like maybe they like bodybuilding more and they like doing, your bro splits. If you just increase your frequency from 1 to 2 times a week of doing each body part, my God, you will grow. I've seen that happen with people like that. For most of their lives, we're just doing one body part a week. Boom, do 2. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing new stuff.
Right.
That it's so wild. Like, and then for individuals that, like for me, my triceps were a weaker body part for me to grow. For a very long time, my triceps, they would be rough. I went from twice a week. I went from twice a week to doing triceps 4 times a week. Now, granted, on those 4 sessions, maybe I would overall, the volume would be more than me doing 2 sessions of triceps, but not every single session was torching them. So I could recover from session to session, and my triceps grew. So if you have a body part that you've been working out for years, and you're like, this body part just chooses to be stubborn, my arms just won't grow, do them more frequently. But really try and control what you're doing in terms of volume. And if you trust me, if you do that, they will grow more than you'd expect them to.
Yeah, and like if you're doing 12 or 15 sets of workout and you're really just demolishing it and you're doing it once a week, you might want to back off a little bit on the amount of sets so that you can increase the frequency. Also, like maybe your arms aren't growing and you train them 3 or 4 times a week. Maybe try to train them a little heavier, try to train them with a different style of protocol. Look at some different styles of training, and maybe cut the amount of times that you train in half, because sometimes you just simply, and also too, like if you're trying to be like thick, you're trying to be, gain some size, are you spending time on the elliptical? Are you running? Like a lot of times when you're new, you just don't know. You're like, I need to burn up some calories. I need to burn some fat, so I'm gonna like run. And some people go to the gym every day and they'll run for 20 minutes before they start their training, and it's like, dude, you're 19 years old and you're training like an animal every day. Your nutrition's not supporting anything, and you're trying to like run away from or run off your fat, and it doesn't work. These things are all going to accumulate on your body, and that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, this is where we get some weeds here, but that's true. That's true. And then obviously the nutrition is going to help with everything in terms of growing, but yeah.
What do you think was the biggest difference with your arms? You said you increased to 4 days a week. Did you try to train your arms heavier? Did you try to, bodybuild with them, do sets of 12, or what did you do?
2 of the days I was working much heavier loads, and I would have more compound movements on those days, like a close grip bench press, along with heavier tricep movements, which the max amount of reps I would do for any of those movements on those days would probably be 10. And then 2 of the days, and it would kind of switch around. So it would be a heavy tricep day, very light tricep day, kind of heavy tricep day, not as heavy as day 1. And then a lighter day, but with a lot of reps, where some of my reps would go up to 20. At the very end of the workout, some of them would go up to 25. And that was set up that way so that I could be able to recover from session to session. Because if I did a heavy day and then I did another heavy day after that you can't do a heavy day, light day.
And your elbows are going to fall apart.
My elbows would fall apart too. So it was heavy, light, moderate. Then the load was light, but the volume was a lot, and I was doing a lot of reps back to a heavy day on day 1. And that helped me out a lot, because like my biceps were fine. Like my biceps never had a problem progressing or growing, but my triceps like would just be these stagnant, annoying pieces of meat on the back of my arms.
Sometimes people just don't think of training their arms the way that they train everything else. And so sometimes just lowering the rep range, it's okay to do a barbell curl for a set of 3 or even like a single rep max. I mean, it's okay to do them that way. The problem with those exercises, they don't lend themselves to be done that way very well. So then you have to like just use a lot of body English, and it starts to get really weird. But, having it in a lower rep range, somewhere between 4 and 8 reps is totally fine. Do some dumbbell hammer curls, or do some incline curls. Do some movements that are going to, if you do like something like an incline curl, you're going to automatically use a lot less weight. Incline dumbbell curls, it's like, good luck using the 35-pound dumbbells. Those things are a bitch. But if you take, like a one-arm preacher curl where you have it like, with your thumb facing you, like a hammer curl style, those aren't as hard, and you can use a little bit more weight. Or if you just do a regular easy curl bar, you can handle some good weight. So start your workout off with things that lend themselves to you being able to use a good amount of weight. And then you can also, as the workout progresses, sets of 15 and sets of 20 are really perfect for something like a tricep push down, where you have your body weight kind of over top of it. You're able to cheat. It's really low impact on the elbows. But sets of 15 or 20 might not be great for skull crushers and things like that. You might want a lower rep range, a little heavier weight. And by the way, if you have pain on any of these things, find other exercises. There's too many things to do in the gym. There's so many options, and so you might want to try to move into just utilizing some different exercises.
Yeah.
What about like tips for making the better connection for the mind-muscle connection? Because I know, like, if the weight's light, I can really flex and I can feel it, and it just is way better. But is there anything else other than just going a little bit lighter and practicing a better form? Like, I mean, obviously better form is always going to be the goal, but I don't know, did you guys find anything else when you were doing the bodybuilding stuff?
You can pre-exhaust. That works great. You can find a movement. Let's say you have trouble tapping into like your biceps, so you can do some standing like reverse curls, and then you can maybe do like a hammer curl. And then maybe the third movement could be like a regular curl. By the time you get to the regular curl with your palms facing up, your biceps are going to be pretty damn activated, and it should be really easy to get a pump after that. So some sort of activation through another exercise can work really well. Let's say you have a hard time, tapping into the old pecs. Maybe you do a couple reps of push-ups. 10, 15, 20 reps of push-ups, and then you're like, you know what, whenever I do a fly, I don't feel shit when I do a fly. Well, do push-ups beforehand and then try the fly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes exercises like flies don't ever feel great to people, so maybe you try a cable fly, or maybe you try the pec deck. You try different pieces. Sometimes like just your body type just doesn't work great with certain things, but pre-exhausting the muscle will work really, really well. Maybe it's a side lateral before you go ahead and do a overhead press.
And then I want to ask you about flexing also in between sets and whatnot. But real quick, in regards to the fly, I whenever I do the cable crossovers and stuff, you even said like there's no wrong way to do it except for how you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't. Yeah, I can never get it. For whatever reason, I'll get it eventually. But Nsima told me to do single arm, whatever those are called.
Yeah, those work pretty good.
Holy shit, those feel amazing.
I love them.
Those feel way better for me than doing both, cables, whatever you want to call them. But
yeah.
I was blown away.
So you can actually cross over, like it's a cable crossover,
right? Yeah.
You can't really cross over.
But like I was just like feeling, and Jessica will attest to this. You can feel the back of my spine through my chest. Like there's nothing there.
That's disgusting.
But when doing the single arm crossover, I was like, hey, there's a little something going on right there.
Yeah, and you can
yes, yeah. But I have heard you talk about flexing in between sets too. Like,
yeah,
what's that all about?
Flexing in between sets is great. I think the first thing that people need to learn if they're trying to develop like some sort of mind-muscle connection is how to flex. I actually think that anyone that's lifting weights needs to learn how to flex and pose at least a little bit. Because think about it, doesn't make any sense. You're trying to train your left bicep, but you have no idea how to flex it. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. And same thing with like your rear delts and your triceps and all the, like, you should know how to flex these things. Yeah. The more that you know how to flex them, the easier it will be to kind of turn them on when you're actually doing the exercise. You'll be able to like almost like take your mind and to like dive into the muscle and to be able to have that mind-muscle connection.
Yeah, I've heard O'Hearn talk about like he actually imagines the fibers like being torn down, and so like he actually like closes his eyes and he sees it happening. Like, damn, that's sick. That's deep.
Yeah. So like, you were right in when you said lighten the load. Like when we were with Mike, what was he saying a lot of the time when we were doing some of these weird movements? let's lower that a little bit for you because you can feel it better. So that's one big thing. But then not just flexing, but for example, with the cable bicep girl, squeezing at the very top for squeezing at the very top. I'm serious. That just happened. Squeezing at the
that just happened.
Squeezing at the top of the movement for like 2 or 3 seconds to allow yourself to actually feel what's going on at the top, then bringing it back down. A lot of people, when they're going through the motions in the gym, they're just bringing it up and down, and you don't feel shit. Even I don't. But if I were to squeeze right here, like I feel that hold. Right? So having like 2-second holds or 3-second holds at the top of each movement, and then controlling the eccentric of like a cable curl or something, or a tricep push down or whatever, bring it up and then controlling the motion back can help you a lot to be able to see and feel what's going on. That can make a big difference. Then one weird one, and it requires a training partner. Sometimes you can do it on your own, but mostly it works well with a partner, is touching. Yes. So, for example, if you were doing some, you're doing some cable rows, and I just come up behind you and I just tap your lats a little bit. I just tap them slowly.
A little taparoo.
Little tap. Just tap, 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 tap. Tap your lat a little bit so that when you bring it back, you can feel what we're actually trying to work. Or maybe you're doing some rear delt face pulls with the rope, and I just tap behind your shoulder.
Like Mike does?
Exactly.
O'Hearn.
Just, if we had some smooth jazz music, this would be perfect. I just stand here, I just tap. Tap, 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 tap. And like being real. Okay, real talk. Back to it. You'll be able to actually activate that muscle group better, especially during like face pulls or something where most people have problems feeling their rear delts. You will be able to activate that muscle group better if someone's actually touching it, because you're more aware of where it actually is. Like, that's legit. So if you have a workout partner, you guys got to start touching each other. Real talk. Like, really, you guys need to start touching each other. Start touching those chests. Start touching those legs. Just touch each other. It'll help you. It'll help your bro.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
It does. I'm not even joking.
Look, there he goes.
Oh, he's trying to get the nip. Trying to get the nip slip.
The way he touches those is a little bit different than I've.
Yeah, Mike likes to kind of caress the muscle.
He uses that middle
he
finger
does
a
the
lot.
middle finger, and he kind of like he'll lazily throw it up. Maybe he's not trying to take away from like whatever he's touching.
It's almost like he has like a wooden hand or something.
It does. Look.
It's like half like broken or something. It's all stuck for some reason.
Oh man!
It's like, why can't he move his fingers?
I don't know. But he's jacked, so whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah, delete him off there.
We talk about him too much, anyways.
Nobody needs to see that.
Any hoot. What about drop sets?
Yeah, fucking drop sets are great. Drop sets are awesome. You could do those with free weight. You can do those on the machines. They're a little easier on the machine. Going from an exercise that like stretches to an exercise that doesn't works really good. So an example would be maybe you do like a seated row supersetted with like a pull-up, something like that. Or the other way around, you do the pull-up first and then you do the seated row. I'm not sure why that kind of shit works really well, but you could also do something like a squat or like a leg curl mixed with like a lunge. Again, you have a movement. Or even better maybe is like a leg curl mixed with like a stiff leg deadlift. You just be careful, man. That kind of stuff will make you really, really sore when you go back and forth, because you got one thing that's pushing blood in, and you got another thing that's stretching you at another angle, and it's like, whoo, shit gets on fire really quick.
Well, just like what you had us doing the other day with the leg press.
Yeah.
Like we were leg pressing, going crazy, and then Mark's like, "Here, kneel down and stretch your everything out, your quads and whatever,
It was hard.
your glutes." And it felt really cool because like I don't really experience like a leg pump per se, but like when you stretch like that, you feel like your skin is like at max capacity. Like it feels amazing.
Have you ever tried doing bicep curls and then stretching your biceps between each set in your rest periods? It's hell.
That shit hurts.
It's great though.
The way you're looking at me worries me, but like I'm down to do that. That sounds like fun.
Who's that guy? I think on YouTube he goes by Mad Dog something, but he's a famous bodybuilder. He's all about that stuff.
Not Mountain Dog.
Mountain Dog.
Oh, Mountain Dog.
Mountain Dog.
Yeah.
Mountain Dog. He talks about that stuff a lot. He
Yeah.
loves that.
Yeah, he loves
that.
doing that.
He has a really good explanation on like all the good stuff about it, but I've honestly forgotten. But it's great.
I think. Oh man, the name just eluded me. I got him in my head. Tom Platz.
Tom
Platz was big on that.
Oh,
shit
yeah.
Back in the day, he would squat, and then he would just fucking like he'd get down on his knees and just like lay all the way back after a really hard set of like squats or leg extensions. Like, how is he able to do that right after he just blew his legs up? But that guy squatted 500 for like 20 something reps.
Yeah,
Damn, really?
Tom Platz is like the definition, or like, I guess,
He was fucking crazy.
he was a pure bodybuilder. He did strength training, but he wasn't very good. Like, just because Tom Platz could squat 500 for that many reps doesn't necessarily mean that he could have squatted 600 pounds. But he was really good at banging out reps. Like, he had that endurance.
Yeah.
So it's like the nature of the way you train. Like, just because you're a powerlifter who can squat 800, you might not be able to get to 20
Look
reps.
At his legs. Just
Yeah.
What the?
What
the hell? Why do the bodybuilders always have their pants down around their ankles? Can't they just wear shorts to show off their legs?
Well, you can't wear shorts that cover the knees. I think, that's one thing that, bodybuilding really got me into wearing, like, I became very comfortable wearing shorter shorts, because in high school, I would be the guy who was wearing basketball shorts, like, past the knees. But once my quads grew, I was like, oh, I need to show these things off.
Yeah, that's barely hitting me now. Like I always wear baggy shorts all the time.
Look at how efficient he is at squatting.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous.
Ooh. Damn, and good hair.
Yeah, he trained like
bullshit.
an absolute lunatic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever seen videos of him like working with other people, training them. He just kills everybody. It looks brutal. Yeah, he's really into just digging in deep, and going deep into your mind and being able to get those extra reps. That a lot of people are like, oh, you always have one left. You could always pump out another rep. He'd say 5 reps.
Yeah, because you probably can't pump out those 5.
He's like, there's always room to do 5 more reps.
I think, that's another thing, though. After training for some time, like, you'll really be able to figure out like where your actual limits lie. Because and it's not like you want to test this all the time, but when you think you have 1 rep left in a set, you probably have like maybe 5, and you're just thinking like you're not, I guess you're not comfortable with that fatigue level, So that's one huge thing. I guess it just takes time to develop, figuring out where your end range is.
Yeah, and thinking about like somebody else just went and did that for a set of 10, and then set yourself up to really believe that you're going to get a set of 10 too. Just pretend that you just saw somebody just do that.
Yeah.
Or somebody just did, like, let's say you're like, all right, I'm going to do like 5 reps of this. Just pretend that you just saw someone do 6, and now maybe you'll get 7. It's it's a big deal when you have someone that encourages you or someone that spots you, but we see it happen in here quite a bit. Someone like Ryan Spencer might be in here on a Friday morning squatting, and as I'm walking in, he's already got some good weight on there. It's 5 a.m. He's got like 455 on there, and he's squatting for some reps. He doesn't have a spotter. But if I'm like, hey, Ryan, let's go, and in a second he starts going, it's like, okay, now he's moving a little faster. And that kind of gives you an idea. Like, yeah, there's always a little more there.
If you've played any type of sport, you kind of know this, and like it's funny when, let's say your coach has you doing something for 3 minutes. And at the last 30 seconds of those 3 minutes, you start feeling like crap. But then your coach again says, let's go for 1 more, 2 more minutes. Then for some reason, you find another battery. Like, it's just like you can go for another 2 minutes. And at the last 10 seconds or 15 seconds of that 2 minutes, you start to just peter out. And it's happened before that. Then another set happens. But then you manage to, for some reason, be able to get through it again. So why couldn't you just get through that whole first 3 minutes?
Don't know. But yeah, I really wanted to mess with Chris Bell. Because no matter what we were doing on the bench, the last rep, because he's got torn up triceps and everything, pecs and all that. So the last rep is always like, take it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, let's go for 4 reps, because we were doing sets of 3. Like, let's just go for 4. Well, I don't think he heard me, but still, because it was like no matter what the last rep was, that was going to be the rep where he couldn't lock it out.
Same, yeah, man.
So like, yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, but I feel it.
Shit's hard, man. It's like when you're doing it, you think that you can't do anymore. And if you watch like a video, you're like, that sucked. Videos are really bad, because even if you shake a lot and like barely get through the rep, you don't see that well on video for some reason. It doesn't show up the same. And so you look at it, you're like, I could have done way more than that. You're like, why did I put it back in the rack?
Get exposed.
But, also, I mean, I don't like, I do enough work in my workouts to where it's really rare that I'm really pushing myself to like extreme failure. It just depends. It depends on the movement. But like in a squat, it's really rare for me to push myself in a squat to like total failure. I might do it on a leg press where I'm like not sure if I can push the weight back up again. We did a little bit of that also with the belt squat the other day, like where you're like, my legs are like really fatigued. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stand up again. And then I don't know how everyone's going to help me out of this position. If I get stuck, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that hit me really hard. My right quad for some, like it just, I'm like, dude, like, come on, like I tried to shake it out, and it wouldn't go. I'm like, nope, let's go. And then Jess actually pulled like some weight off, so I could keep going. All right, cool, we're good. And then like, fuck, I can't stand up. Yeah. I get up just luckily. I being a little bit taller, like I was able to like not fully lock it out and still push the whatever the bar back in, so I didn't have to. But dude, that was really scary.
I think that's one
super sketchy.
Yeah. I think that's one big concept of why, like, of course we can say that there are athletes in every sport that are in really good shape. But I think that's why a lot of CrossFitters are in ultra good shape. Because if you look at the nature of almost all of the kind of workouts they do, it's like you are at death's door in almost every single workout. You don't do that much in bodybuilding. You don't do that much in powerlifting, but in CrossFit, you're there and you get used to being there. That's one thing that's crazy. You get used to being in that just disgusting state. Jess that's sitting right here, she knows what that's like because she did rowing. Like that, she's going to that place right now. It's hell. So I think that's why they just end up in such ridiculous shape. They're just used to doing that.
Jess was showing us pictures of her hands back in the day. Whew.
Grizzled?
She went through some work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Smokey walked in so we can stop talking about him.
All right.
We should talk about him more?
He's a handsome man. I actually like what he's wearing today. His coat's nice, his watch is nice, and his beard is always nice, oily, straight, and not nappy. So...
Not nappy.
Yeah, he doesn't have naps in there. He brushes it all out. You can tell. You could run your fingers through his beard and not catch a single hair. That's how I want to, but he just won't let me.
You'll catch some rice or something though. I've seen that.
Maybe a rice or a piece of ground beef here and there, but
yeah,
it's still it's still clean.
Get a little bit of food out of there. Anyway, I think we're fucking done here.
Yeah, I think so.
You got anything else to say?
Just appreciate the sponsors, of course, like always.
Yep, those Quest donut bars, all the proteins and the sprinkles, I think.
Remember, guys, I still need to do this myself, but Mark talked about cutting up or warming the Quest bar up, then cutting it up, or cutting it up, then warming it up.
Cutting it up and snorting it. That's where I'm at with these Quest bars right now.
All right, so I think
so you cut them up and you stick them in the microwave. You can do it either way. You can put them in the microwave first or cut them up afterwards. But they're amazing. But you can't do it with this with the
Hero Bar.
Well, you can't do it with any of the ones that have like a coating on them. You could do it with like the cookie dough one. But yeah, throw it in the microwave for 10 seconds or so.
Yeah.
How did you come to finding this out? Like, 'cause that's
Ron Penna.
Really? Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah, Ron Penna.
Who knows how he figured it out? But
he told me to like wrap it in like a wet napkin, and then stick it in the microwave.
Got it. Okay. Well, if you guys,
I don't know how he discovered it.
Yeah. If you guys want to give it a go, head over to questnutrition.com at checkout. Enter promo code MarksQuest for 20% off your order. Eventually Mark will let me have another Quest bar. Right now because I'm really trying to be drastic with my changes in my body, so I'm not having any kind of sweet or any kind of cheat.
You're going through a lot of changes, Andrew.
Lots of changes, but the second I am allowed a Quest bar, I'm gonna give that a go. But it's funny how Quest bar gets heated, but the perfect keto bar gets cooled.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it has to be put in the fridge.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean. Yeah, it tastes better.
You don't have to put it in the fridge.
But it is way more enjoyable.
Yes, it is.
I wonder what that's all about. How did you learn that? You just did it one day?
I'm just fat.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want
I used fat science.
you don't want a skinny cook
Yeah.
and a fat trainer.
All the bars just have fat in them, so I figured if I stick them in the fridge, maybe it will all come together and be really good. So
Use those fat habits for good, not evil.
Yeah, use a fat, I like that.
Anyway, yeah, it was delicious. The cookie dough is my favorite. I know you guys like that cinnamon roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm back on cinnamon roll again.
Mm.
I think it's just because
There's
again,
only
this is
one.
nostalgia though. I can't touch them right now. But the vanilla, was it the keto or ketone base or no MCT oil powder?
Yep.
That was my shit. That's really good.
Yeah, it's I love it. I like it better than the chocolate. I have yet to try the salted caramel, but I will try that tomorrow in the AM.
Yeah. We got to try that one.
Yeah, I know.
I've had the salted caramel collagen, but not the MCT powder yet.
Yeah. I'm with you though, Nsima. I'm on team vanilla. Wait, when it comes to the
For the powder.
MCT oil powder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone who's messing around with some fasting, sometimes it's tough to make it through a fast, so you might want to throw some MCT oil powder in your coffee. I blend it up with that little blender thingy that I have that I showed you guys some videos of.
The tantalizer.
The tantalizer makes it a little easier, but you could just throw it in like a shaker cup, or you can blend it with a spoon. It'll mix up pretty good that way as well. And then also they have ketones, actual ketones.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you looking for like a little energy boost or looking to be less hungry during your fast, you can give that a shot.
Yeah, if you guys want to give that a go, head over to perfectketo.com/powerproject. You'll see our favorites. I talk about the nootropic all the time because I love it. Enter promo code PowerProject at checkout for 15% off your entire order.
We talked a lot about getting strong. We talked a lot about getting jacked and tan. And the only way you're going to do it is to have a good diet in place, and these products help you do that. And certainly Piedmontese will help you do that as well. They got some really tender meat that is really lean, and I suggest you all give it a shot. I like the flat iron steak. I like the ribeyes. I like the filet as well. And recently they've been sending, what's that stuff called again? A Dynasty package, right?
Dynasty package.
Yeah, that shit was really good. They also have a lot of grass-fed beef. You're going to want to check that out.
What is
grass finished?
Yeah, what is grass finished?
I'm still actually very curious about that. I know it's delicious.
Supposedly all cows are grass-fed. But grass-fed and continuing being grass-fed is not a practice that people use traditionally. They use grass and then they switch to grain, and then a lot of cows are grass-fed and then they are grain-finished. And that's usually what gives the marbling and still has a good flavor, because a lot of times grass-fed beef doesn't really taste that good, or it just tastes different to you. It might almost taste like gamey for some people, but I haven't noticed a difference with the Piedmontese. It tastes really fucking good.
Just as tender.
I only notice it after I look at like the label. I'm like, oh, this is a grass-fed one. So
yeah, I'm a fan of the flat iron, but I think the New York strip is gonna take over, especially because it is leaner.
New York steak of mine, something like
that. Come on, Andrew.
I don't know.
Andrew, did you just not? You're a Nas fan, bro. You're kidding, right?
He's looking at us like a dog. Like he did the side head tilt.
Like he didn't even react to that.
He did the.
You get it, right?
It legit took me longer than it took you.
Oh my God! How? Oh, it's the diet. It's the diet.
It's already happening. Is that why it didn't work last night? Or is that different? That's something else?
Yeah, I guess that's something else.
Use the tantalizer.
Just use that.
Not the one from work.
Oh shit. Damn it.
Is that heavy cream on there?
Oh.
All right, I took it too far. I took it too far.
Oh my gosh, we're idiots.
Oh, we need a machine, but we need that. Oh, we need
soundboard.
That. Yeah, soundboard. We need
Okay.
a soundboard. That was
Can't
good.
afford that.
All right, if you guys are older than 12 and more mature, head over to Piedmontese.com. That's PIEDMONTESE.com. Enter promo code PowerProject at checkout for 25% off your order. If your order is $99 and above, you get free 2-day shipping. Highly recommend the ribeye, grass-fed, grass-finished. That shit's insane.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Where can people find you? Nsima.
Oh, at Nsima Inyang. Nsimainyang on Instagram and YouTube.
Where can people find you? Andrew.
Instagram at I am Andrew Z.
Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch y'all later.